good morning, good morning. Get my mask away here. Are we up? 8 o'clock, Saturday. Looks good. Audio testing, 1, 2, 3, minus 8.2 dBs. We're still not sure how the audio is going to be working. We have a brand new audio interface, but I don't know how to set it up properly. So let me know about audio issues. The fan is just starting to get going, so there shouldn't be any hiss yet. Got some things to do today here. Excuse me. Okay, those of you who were here the other day know what's happening. We've got the final last little bit of carving on this block. We have one kanji character left to carve, and then the outline, which is going to need some noise. Paper's out, yes, thank you very much. Paper is out, three packs today. They're still cleaning up, they're finishing up number 4 print in this year's series. Not quite on target here, hold on here. Just a second here, let's find the spot. There we go. Yeah, her cones are falling apart. I mean, we buy new ones all the time. These things wear out quickly. They're in the sunshine, so the plastic decays quickly. Every 6, 7, 8 months, whatever, we buy a couple of new ones from Amazon. No street view. It's pouring out there. It's pouring rain. I don't know if you can see it bouncing off the sidewalk, and I can't put the camera outside. You know, I don't want to make an umbrella for it, whatever. So I'm sorry, it'll be a quiet street view today. Pouring rain. So, let's get to this. One kanji character to carve, then the outside, then we cut some little bit of fun short film. Find my original for the characters here. Hang on one second. Where is it? Get to Randall's original image here. Okay. One second here. Yes. Okay, just needed a copy of the kanji character here. Carving with a scope, nay. When you're carving with a scope, the trouble I had when I was first doing it is I was too intense with getting my eyes on it, shoulders tense and looking down in. And what I learned over the first few months of using this thing, and I've used since then, is I don't, it's just there and I'm here and I just sit peacefully and I look down inside it. So I'm not on the thing, it doesn't touch my eyes, there's no stress in the shoulders. I'm just sitting here like I normally sit, but I happen to be looking down into a new world down there. But at first I didn't know how to do this. It was too intense and man, I got cramped and tired and stressed and whatever. So take it easy with the first going at the scope, unless you're used to using these. Good fun, good fun. Okay, let's get going here. Excuse me. Today here in Mokonga is going to be a very, very, very busy day here. We've got 3 full print parties. I think there's 3 in the first session, 5 in the 1 o'clock session, and I think 3 or 4 in the 2:30 session. And it's only me and Kalaisan. It's only 2 staff members here, me and Kalaisan. We have a whole bunch of people that don't want to be here in the shop, you know, speaking of staff. You know. We've got some staff members that have booked off. Excuse me. So we're down to a veteran core. It's me, Shiba-san's here Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Kawai-san's here Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And we're the last men standing. We're the ones who are going to hold the fort till the last possible day. Tokyo still, it's normal, you know. Daily life in Tokyo here is pretty much actually normal. They've closed, you know, sports events and museums and stuff are closed, but just walking around the streets, it's a normal city in a normal appearance. The trains are running. You know, I'm not a doctor, I can't, you know, whatever, talk about the actual risk of being here, but something that's been a bit surprising now the last few days is this thing has been now here in Tokyo for a month. They let the people off that cruise ship, they walked all over town, got on the trains, went home. There's been lots of exposure to this thing here, and yet the numbers of cases are growing. And the argument is because they're not testing here in Japan, and that's why the numbers are so low, because there's very little testing going on. So I get that. Whether the cynical viewpoint is they're not testing because they don't want to run up the numbers to scare people off the Olympics or something like this. You know, I have no idea if that's true or not. But even over and above the testing that's not going on, we don't have a situation where thousands of people are getting sick and jamming the hospital. So I don't know. You know, I don't know. I think partly too, Japan's an extremely clean country. People wear masks. They wash their hands incessantly. So the basic level of you know, daily care is good here. So I don't know. We're sort of waiting for this shoe to drop, waiting for this massive epidemic, waiting for 1 billion people to be checked in the hospitals, and it's sort of not happening yet. So I don't know. I don't know. So what's happening over here this morning? Paper's out, yes, thanks very much. Somebody's already asked that it is out. 3 people are here today. So. Comic-Con's been cancelled. Yeah, Jed-san's going to be, he's going to lose a bunch of income there. Woeful cone alignment, it is indeed, but I don't do anything about it. The cones appear wherever they appear. restaurant scene here in the Saxa now, it's interesting, you know. For the last few evenings, I've basically eaten by myself. I've been in a restaurant and I'm the only guy there. Last night I was at the Wired Cafe, only customer there. Night before I went to the Daimas Beer Hall, big wide beer hall. I was the only guy in the building. But outside in the Hopidori, you know, the street here where all the outside bars are, they're still quite busy. It's interesting. Maybe people feel more comfortable. They're drinking and eating outside. So I guess that's perhaps a factor involved here. So those places are still quite busy. Not jammed down Woodwell, but fairly busy still. And that was a Friday night. Normally quite busy for it. It'll be interesting to see what it's like tonight, Saturday. And I haven't been on the trains myself in the past week or so, but the staff who comes here, Shiba-san was here yesterday, I asked her what's the commuting like. And she said the trains are running, it seems, for her about half capacity or so, something like that, at the time of day she came. Her normal commuting time. She said it seemed like maybe about half. And a lot of that would be for school kids, of course. A lot of the school kids go to school by train here in central Tokyo. And the schools are closed, so that'll cut down a lot of traffic at commuting time. So I guess people are just mostly chilling out at home. A lot of companies have asked their workers to telecommute, work at home if they can. Factories and stuff can't really do that, but the offices certainly can for the most part. So Tokyo's a lot quieter. We've got lots and lots of tourists walking around here with nothing to do. You know. That's why we ourselves are busy. We've got 3 parties today. There's nothing else to do in Tokyo. When we're the last man standing, who knows? The shape of this thing, what is it? Oh, it's a wiggle, I see. It's a wiggle there. Okay, getting it checked. Oh, I know there's something I'm supposed to mention to you today. I got an email yesterday. There's something here that had been going on while I was in Canada. I hadn't known about this. There was a request for an interview from an event magazine here in Tokyo. There's a magazine here called Tokyo Weekender. I think it's a weekly magazine, maybe monthly, I don't know. I think it's the kind of magazine that's available in hotels and tourist outlets and whatever, stuff to do with Tokyo. And it had nothing to do with the virus situation, but they had come while I was away in Canada, and they had interviewed the staff and done a print party and talked about our events and stuff like that. I guess they gave us a write-up in the magazine sometime, right around there. Anyway, it turns out now they've got a kind of is contest the right word for it, whatever. They're trying to raise their own profile and stuff like this, so they've made a sort of an event, best of kind of event, I guess, of all the things they've reviewed and talked about and written up, whatever, in the last year or so. So it's kind of like an Oscars. They've got nominations, and they're going to have an online poll for the winners of these sort of things. And they've got different categories: best restaurant in Tokyo, best hotel in Tokyo, best bar, best whatever. It turns out, I hadn't known anything about this, but it turns out they've got a category for best activity in Tokyo. And we are nominated in this thing. And I saw an email from them. They want me to go to their dinner and the awards dinner and stuff like this, and sit there while somebody up on stage opens the envelope and says, and the best activity in Tokyo is whatever. Anyway, I guess I don't know how the voting works, whether it's online voting or whether it's people that have been to the activities or whatever. And how can you vote for best activity of all these things if you've never been to them? I don't quite know how it works. Anyway, somebody can maybe find it. I should have looked up a link. It's look at Tokyo Weekender. Go to the website and see if you can find the, whatever they call it, I don't know, best of or whatever the activity or something is called. And you should be able to find us in there, I think. I don't know whether they're taking online votes or whatever. Or maybe I'm not even supposed to talk about this, or fans are going to stuff the ballot box or something. I don't know how it works. Okay, I do believe that stroke comes there, then down. This one goes across and down. That goes across and down. This is across. I think that might be the first cut done here. Let's have a look. Somebody found it. There we are. TW Reader's Choice Awards. It's just so cool, you know, just mentioning something and the guys out there can find it. Crows, yes, the crows are out there. So we better not win if we're considering cutting back on print parties. Wouldn't that be cool? We'd win this thing and then stop having print parties. We're not going to stop. We're not going to stop. All's fair in love and Reader's Choice. Stuff that ballot box. Be careful, I don't want to win this thing. I'm too busy to go to that dinner. Okay, there we are. I can't wash this off yet because we now have to cut the border. And this is the next part that might be a bit boring for the rest of this morning. I am going to now cut the outside of this line, and then it's going to be persuader time. We're going to make some noise this morning. Anyway, first step, let's cut this border line. Also, I had a cup of coffee here. Excuse me a minute here. Excuse me, late breakfast. What do the letters say? This says, it's backwards here, of course. It's Neko Hake, Cat 8 Views. This is part of the 8 Views of Cat series. And the other two are Evening and Snow. We'll see. I'll do a test print. If I can finish this thing this morning, I'm ready. I've got the transfer paper ready. And we might do a test print of this morning if I can keep quiet and get carving. Yeah, they did an illustration of Sugusan, but, I mean, come on, that's like not very well done, I think. I'm sorry. Talking about an illustration of Sugasan, wait till you see today's show and tell. Anyway, Dave, keep quiet. Get to work, get to work, get to work. Illustrations of Sugasan and the rest of the team. Now cutting a line like this here, I'm going to be careful. If I put too much pressure on this knife, if I dig into the wood too much, it'll pop that line. So I'm going to cut this twice. I'm going to cut first. It's sort of a scratch. I'm getting the location of the line cut, but I'm not pushing too far down into the wood. And also, the knife is not up like this. The knife is down, 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 down to keep more of the blade into the wood to help keep it in a basically straight line. We're not being geometrically straight here. I'm not using a ruler, but this is going to look cool. And this one, we're cutting across the grain here. This is the wood grain runs this way. So this line I'm cutting now, my knife is running across the grain. And it's much, much easier to keep on a straight line when you're across the grain. It might sound like a bit backwards. I'm going to go in there once more. I'm going to cut it just a little bit deeper now. Now this one, running with the grain, this is difficult because the knife wants to follow the grain. And whenever the grain is no way going to be straight, along this line that I want. So the knife wants to follow the grain. So I'm going to cut really shallow, just scratching. If I push the knife in too far, it will just wander side to side with the grain. So I'm just scratching the top of the wood here to set the course. And even now already it's wavering more than that one I just did. It wants to follow those cell groupings. Look at that, there we are. It's thin here and it came up, 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 out. I'll have to trim some of this. With the grain is tough. Let's go back inside so we get deeper. You got the match label prints. I don't know my own match label prints, I keep them in stamp albums. The modern, when I was a kid, stamps, we used to stick them on the back and put them in albums. That was no good. But the stamp collectors have these little albums with black backing sheets and little pockets. And my own match label prints are in stamp albums. Totally non-destructive. The things slide in and out of the pockets. Keeps them closed. Nothing to do with light. And you can get those albums like as single sheets. Oops, I'm wandering. Dave, be quiet. Just get some work done here first. Is that the oyster delivery next door? there's our prep. It's now time to make some noise. I'm not quite sure how to do this with the microphone. We're going to need some adjustments here. At some point with the previous microphone, we had a system, we had a compressor or whatever set up to it, which would take care of the banging noise, and that is off now. It's all back to zero. Questions, questions, questions. Okay, now what we're going to have to do, let's try this, let's test this. Two ways to do this. One is I can try and put a compressor limiter in the background, or second is I can just simply turn the volume down when I do this. So I'll need your help to do this. Let me first look at the settings for the audio here. Filter. It has compressor, gain, noise gate, or noise suppression. Compressor, gain, noise gate, or noise suppression. Which one do I need here? Noise suppression, that must be about the white noise and stuff to show. Let's try the compressor. Let's activate the compressor here. The threshold, it's a minus dB number. It goes like from 0 down to minus 60 dB. Do I have anybody here with knowledge of this? Let's just try this first. The compressor, I'm going to put it in. Excuse me. I'm going to set the compressor at just whatever, minus 25. It's got attack, release, output, gain. Let's just try this and see what happens. And if I make a noise here. Is this okay, or is that disastrous for everybody with headphones? Is that helping? No comments, nobody's saying anything. My voice has gone quiet. What about the noise? It says not bad. So I can bang without destroying everybody's ears? The banging is bearable. The noise is acceptable. Let's try it. Let's try it. The compression may be quieter, so there must be a setting in there where it doesn't affect my voice, but it just stops the actual noise banging. If anybody knows how compressors work, give me a hint about this and we can try playing with the settings. Now, step one, make sure I mark the corners. Otherwise, I'll just, without knowing it, that's the registration corner. And this, somewhere out here, there it is. There's the other registration mark. If I don't mark them, I would just whack them off without noticing. Let's give this a go. I'll need my bench glasses. Okay, be careful, people with headphones. We are going to make some noise now. There's a bit of a compressor there, but that kind of compressor there. Please be careful. And any advice on the compressor, let me know. Here we go. What was that noise? There's a feedback. What? one's going slow. Bring the threshold up and bring the ratio up to 8.1 or higher. Let me just open this up and see what's happening here. Audio, bring it up, the filter again, compressor. Okay. You say bring the threshold up, that means make it a bigger minus number or a smaller minus number. The threshold at the moment is marked as dB. At the moment it's minus 25. If I move it to the right, the minus number gets smaller. Is that what you mean by bringing it up? And then bring the ratio up to 8.1 or higher. At the moment it's 10. The ratio says 10. Okay, I'll leave the ratio at 10 then, and the threshold, bring it closer to 0. Okay, I'll move that to whatever, it's, well, I can put it to 0, whatever. Bring it closer to 0. Okay, ratio now says 12. He says 10.1 is great, okay, whatever. The ratio is now 10. Threshold is 0. Attack in milliseconds, microseconds, MS is 1. Release is 60. And output gain is 0. Threshold, okay, minus 6 it says. Let's go to minus 6. Okay, let's give it a try. Thank you for your advice. Let's see what happens. Testing, talking. Is the voice affected? How is it? Someone says nope. It was better before. Your voice could move here. Okay, bring the ratio up to its maximum. Okay, ratio 10. The ratio will go to, it says it goes to 32. Let's try this then. Ratio 32, threshold minus 6, attack 1, release 60 microseconds, milliseconds, output gain 0. Okay, let's try this. Done. Tolerable, kinda. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you. Any advice welcome. I'm really not knowledgeable about that at all. High frequency hiss. The computer fan is running. I can hear a fan noise here. Whether that's an audio hiss or whether you're just picking up the fan noise, I don't know. The Zoom recorder itself too has audio functions, and one of them, there's a limiter in there. And I thought the limiter was the one where it just simply cuts everything above a certain volume. But the interface, I have no idea how to use the interface. You punch it up and start looking for compressor set to 8.1 or higher is a limiter. Okay. 13, it's a 12, I think. I believe this is a 12 gouge. It's a shallow 12. It's one of my favorite tools. I don't have a whole lot of different tools in the box here, you know. As you can see for the clearing, for years and years and years now, I've used these two. It's a shallow 12, and then it's a flat, so I know, I think this is a 24. No, it can't be 24 if that's a 12. Let's have a look, let's find out. Yeah, maybe that's a 15. Okay, hang on a second. Before I'm telling lies, want me to find out? Want me to find out? Oh, look at that, I lied. It's a 15. Sorry about that. A shallow 15. And this one then must be a 24. It is indeed. This is a 24. And these have been my go-to clearing tools for, oh my God, 30 years or so, I guess. And these are the ones that do it for me, you know. I could get in there close enough. Anything narrower than this is done with the hand tools. This had a hammer ring on the outside and at the back of it. Two reasons. It used to be longer. The handle on this was longer, but I found it difficult to target it. So if I bring it down to the length of my hand, targeting it is much easier. And I took the ring off years ago because it was so noisy. And it's right there in my left ear, you know, and you bang, bang, bang. And I'm basically alone where I'm carving, so we're not bothering anybody else. But I was finding it in my left ear would be ringing or something after a day's carving. So I took the ring off and just use the wood. And of course the end result of that is the wood starts to decay and get smacked up. So I just keep it taped up and keep it taped up. And maybe at some point we're about at the level where I should take the tape off, put some epoxy in there, clamp it all up and give it a new end. But the ring to me was simply too loud in my ear. And the same thing on this one. There was a ring on this. I've taken it off and I will pay the price and the chisel will start to decay. But so be it. It's better than my ear going bad. And the handle, of course, is replaceable anytime. You can take this off and put it onto a new... So those rings, you know, I don't know. They protect the chisel, but they're really not good for your... And I've got a wooden mallet too. You've got a steel hammer on those rings. It's just unbearable. Absolutely unbearable. You see what we're doing here, taking bit by bit, rather than going one gouge straight up to the line. Just come up to it bit by bit by bit. And of course we're not finished. Let's zoom in for a bit. There's a little bit of wood still up against the line, but that's as close as I want to go with a tool like this. later, after I've gone all the way around, you'll see in a few minutes, we will then get up to it with the bullnose gouges, bullnose chisels, whatever they're called. I'm not so close to the line. I'm being really, really careful. If I was show off, whatever, or if I was younger, I would have gone closer. But it's just not worth the risk. It's also dependent, of course, on how far you've cut. If the knife cuts are quite deep, then you can get closer without danger of chipping off. But if you've kept this quite shallow, then you've got to be really careful how close you get, because that'll pop off in an instant. Now, those were easy. Phone call, I better check. It could be a party cancellation. Excuse me. Before they hang up. Yosh. Oh, missed it. もしもし。はい。もしもし、僕ハーカンです。I'm sorry, I can barely hear you. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Please speak up if you can. Hi, hello. Oh, Rosa. Hi, good morning. Okay. Hi. Yeah, I did get your mail. No problem. You're off for the weekend. Yeah, I get the idea. Yeah. So, we'll cover. Yeah. Well, can't be helped. It's okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. Thanks then. Yeah. Bye-bye. Yeah, anybody who's new here today, please understand what we're doing here. At the moment we're banging. This is a necessary part of our job. It doesn't happen every day all the time. This is not a stream that's just full of wild noise all the time. Today's job is, I'm about maybe halfway through it. There's a bunch of banging here, and then we'll be back to peaceful, quiet work. So hang on there for another 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and we'll be back to a peaceful stream. 2 more sides. I've done 1, 2. We've got 2 more sides. And what it's going to say, cutting this one across the grain, the chisels really work smoothly and easily. You've got to be careful. If you dig too far, it will split. But it's easier cutting this way. This one, I've got the same problem with this tool that I had with the knife. It wants to follow the grain. So I have to be really careful here. If the grain lines are running like this, if I cut into here, they will split out into there. So I've got to try and find which way the grain wants to run here. So we'll do a little bit of a test tap. Let's do a little bit of a test tap here. No big difference. Let's have a look and see how we're going to go here. And first touch is keep well away from the line at first till I've learned how this wood wants to go. Now that I'm a bit more confident, we can move a bit closer. Also, you have to be careful, there's a registration mark in the middle, so I can't come across that, so let's just take it away. Got your great wave print, thank you, thank you, thank you. Do I use earplugs when hammering? No, 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 it's really not actually that loud. Again, it's wood against wood, it's only going to be going on for 5 minutes. 5 minutes in every few months, so this isn't really an occupational deal. If I were in a big workshop where we were all banging every day and there was constant smacking and smacking on metal, it might not be a bad idea to wear ear protection. But for this little job, for me to do this right now, it's trivial. That's the wrong way, look at that. Corner, which has to stay, so let's grain behaves differently everywhere. It's a tree, you know, and trees aren't perfectly straight objects, and this block, we don't quite know. It might have been cut from a tree a little bit at an angle, we have no idea. So the grain will change mold all over the block. It's rare to get a block that the grain will be the same in all directions. I think that will do it with the noisemakers, maybe. Okay, that's it for the noisemakers. Now that we're off the noisemaker, what do? Do I turn off that compressor or do I leave it alone? Rebooted the computer. Do you mean to remove so much of the lower registration mark? Well, I'm not sure what you mean. This one is here, the registration mark's there. I'm going to clean them up now. The marks are still here. I'm now going to, clean up everything. Can't watch but can't look away. I'm not quite sure what you mean. Can't watch, can't look away. Leave the audio as it is. These settings are good overall. Okay, will do. No problem at all. I've got more gain controls. The Zoom recorder itself has an actual dial. This new Zoom has a gain dial. And over here on the OBS interface, there's a gain control. Hope I've been well. Yes, I'm okay. I've got a little thing in my throat, which I always do at this season. I don't believe any connection with coronas. Favorite part, crunch, crunch, crunch. Turn it up, turn it up. Again, that was cross grain, so it's no resistance to chisel. It's very crunchy. But this one now is with the grain, so it's going to be very different. I'm going to have to figure out which way to go. One direction will work, the other direction will almost certainly not work. And with the grain, another way to help this is to keep lots of downward pressure on the chisel. It should work actually more like a plane blade. When you've got a plane, you're pushing down and pulling the wood, and it's a blade that slides across the surface. A chisel with no pressure would just cut down into the wood. But if I keep a lot of top pressure on this, the chisel now is acting almost like a plane blade. Pushing down, down, down. Mostly smoothed out, smooth out. Now, of course, we've got to get up to the actual line. And for this, let's zoom in so you can see what's going on. Let's put it on the score so you can see. close enough, you can see what's happening. Shoe lady. The shoe lady is still here, you know. I know, in fact, yesterday, I went and walked her yesterday. She comes by now at 7:58 or 7:59. Her personal schedule must have changed. No, the particular train she uses has changed. It's will go back quite a few months now. So she comes by now just before 8 o'clock. She used to come by at what, 8:11 or 8:12 or 8:15, somewhere on there. She now comes by at 7:58 or 7:59. Later on in the spring, when we have a warmer weather and we'll be having the stream with the door open, you can hear much more of the outside sounds. These days with the door closed, you can't hear anything. Okay, now, we're going back in the same groove one more time, and you can see what's happening this time. Now that the waste wood is gone, I can really press deeply here, because look what's moving. The ready wood doesn't move, the waste wood moves. You can see it moving in front of the knife. So I couldn't press down this hard before because it would stress the wood both ways. But now that this is gone, when I press down with a knife, which side moves? The waste wood. So it's going to come off. So here we go. So I've incised this line deep down to the point where I want it. And now let's get rid of the waste. We'll come to the front of the line. You should be able to see what's going on now. And this is the point, when I was a beginner at this, this is where I used to chip and chip and chip and chip like crazy. Because two things. One, I didn't have the wood deeply enough incised, and two, my chisel here, I cut too deeply with this one. So the goal now is just to remove that wood that has been cut off. This part, this wood here is waste wood which has no support. And look also too, I'm pointing this chisel away from the line. If I pointed it this way, I mean, you can see where it would go. I'm making my motions like this, everything to stay away from that line. One day when we're doing this, we'll chip on stream, I guess, but whatever. And same again, I am pushing with my finger down, down, down. There's no free movement here. This finger is controlling everything. And we're making no long swipes here. It's all tiny strokes, just of a few millimeters at a time. Look. So can you see where we're at now? We've done this line. This line is now cleared. I'll try and zoom in. How far can we zoom in here? Well, if I can see this now. There we are. That line is now completely separated left and right. Put the knife in here, see? You can see it, Michelle. You can see the shininess. That's the beveled edge of the line. We now have a line that looks like this. It's flat on the top and it's beveled pretty much both sides, just like that. Smooth and clean and hard. We've cleaned away from both sides. Again, the cross grain one is easy. Now we're going to try and do one of the long grain ones, and this again is more difficult because they're wood grain. So what I'm going to do is this. First step, we'll incise it again a bit more deeply. just following the previous cut, just now incising more deeply, and you can see the wood that's moving. It's the waste wood that's moving, not the retained wood. Let's do a bit of a test here. You've got to find the bottom of that triangle. There it is. Here we go. There we have. There's our retained wood. We'll just work back bit by bit by bit. Beautiful. Okay. 2 out of 4. Where's the next one? Chocolate eggs. We'll be giving chocolate eggs. Thank you very much. Okay, I forgot about that. My apologies. My apologies. Am I carving all the blocks for the cats? No, I'm doing number 1, and our friend Zoe Chong is doing number 2. In fact, he's well into it right now. He's put it aside for the moment because he's also carving number 6 in this year's subscription series. But no, I won't be carving all the cat blocks. We'll see how they go. Maybe I'll be doing half of them or whatever. I don't know. Again, before trying to trim it, let's cut the engraved line a little bit deeper, give me a bit of a safety margin. That looks like a chip there. It's not. It's just a place where the black is missing. The hunched tracing is peeled off here in one place. Okay, we have one long side left and then we'll be done. This block is done. Months and months to show. When did we start this? I don't even know. Last autumn was it? I can't remember. We started the cat series in the summer. What's that? Kawai-san's here. So, is it that time already? Am I not going to have time for this? 9:14. We're okay. Looks like just going to be a good time. Okay, we're a bit nervous about the wood grain here, so for this one, I'm going to pop the V out first before I use that. I'm going to pop the V out so I can see where the line is. Don't always do this. But, if you're not careful when you're popping the V, if you cut too deeply, you're undercutting the line. So it's usually not required, but I want to see where that line is this time. I'm a bit nervous about the wood grain. Right, Carson's coughing as he goes upstairs. Off. どうもありがとうございます。サインですか？はい。
一応昨日の7時から9時でしてあったんですけど。
あ、そうですか。
はい。
申し訳ない。
いえいえ。
こちらに来ない。
はい。
はい。
すいません。
はい、どうも。
はい、またお願いします。ありがとうございます。
Bookshelf. Auction books. I can't remember. What did I get? I don't remember. Should we open it? Let me finish this line. It's the last line of this print. Let me just finish this. Just wait, wait, wait. Pizza delivery, right. Just wait, wait, wait. Where was I? I don't remember what that is. Books. Oh, yeah. Somebody on Yahoo Auctions, some guy, nothing to do with print specifically, but somebody found or got a hold of an old library of books about Japan. It must be somebody, like me for example, my bookshelf at home has a bajillion books about Japan. Japanese culture, Japanese this, Japanese stuff. I used to buy, before I came to Japan, I bought tons of books to learn about the country. Anyway, somebody must have found such a library and he's dumped them up on Yahoo Auction one by one. And there was a ton of books. Years ago, I would have died for these. There was a ton of books discussing Japan in the 1920s and 1930s, pre-war Japanese culture and stuff like this, and the years leading up to the war. And I ignored all those this time around because my life now is just too full. I don't have time for stuff like that. But among the books in the collection were 3 or 4, 5 or 6 about ukiyo-e. I showed you one last time because that one about the ukiyo-e quartet book is from this same library. And the guy's been putting up these books just one at a time on auctions. And the last few days there were a few more books that had connection to Japanese prints. And they were going for nothing, like $2, $3, $4 each. So I bid on a bunch of them. And that's what this package should be. So we'll open it in a minute and have a look at it. But, it's not a wonderful, fantastic, glorious show and tell. It's just simply mildly interesting, some books about Japanese prints. Okay, let's just neaten up, clean up this little registration mark here. We don't want giant, massive registration marks. Just enough of a touch to put the paper. Another one down here. We just need a very small little shelf here, just enough to touch the paper onto it. We are done, ready for first test printing, which is not going to happen today, of course. It's going to happen, what's today, Saturday? I guess we'll do that on the next stream. We'll wash this off, we'll do some test printing on the next stream. Okay, where are we here? There is our basically finished carved block. Today's Saturday. Monday morning we will wash this off, do some test printing, and maybe even start to make the color separations. 8 cats, block number 1, first stage complete. Thanks for your patience with me with this. It's just been months and months and months, a few minutes at a time work. It really wouldn't be more than a couple of days work to do this. You just sit down at your bench and get going with no distractions. Maybe, I can't say one day, that's not true. Because how many hours did it take me? But a few days' work, that's all it would take for this. Just a few days. Why did I leave the upper corners high? Okay, I did that. So the paper that we print on these things is going to come to about here. It won't come this far. I left these upper corners because we're going to use the back side of this block. We're going to use this for one of the color blocks. And I don't know exactly which area will be carved or what won't. In fact, I haven't even planed this block yet. But we will be printing. And if those corners are gone, then as you're printing, the block waves. And you have to build a little stand for it. So I left those corners as support for when we are printing on the back side. If it turns out I don't use the back side, I'll probably just whack those off with a chisel to get them out of the way. But for the most part, I'm looking at stability on the back side. How old is this wood? We've talked about it before. It's around 100 years old. The tree itself would have been born 150 or so years ago, and this wood would have been harvested just about exactly 100 years ago. And we know that because this is wood that I used from a previously carved wood block, which we dated to somewhere around Taisho, just before Showa. It's possibly Meiji. I can't guess any better than that. Certainly Taisho era carved wood block, which would put it in the 1920s or so. We reused that block, and this is the center part of that original block. So this piece of wood was first carved on in the 1920s, and it is now being carved on again in the 2020s. Okay, let's put that aside. It's now 9:23. Let's have a quick boo in here. There's two things. There's one show and tell that I had prepared for you that I want to show you for a minute. But before we look at that, let's just see what's inside here. As I said, nothing really dramatic, just a couple of books probably about ukiyo-e history. I don't remember. How frequently do we sharpen? All the time. Oh, no, you didn't see me sharpen today because I only use those chisels for 5 minutes. But if I were... It's really raining now. Hey, look at that. Who's this? This is... Ayumi-san, good morning, good morning. 干してありますよ。今ストリームあと5分ぐらいですから、僕上に行きます。グループいろありますけど、ちょっと待って、10分ぐらい待ってください。Does the image seem fuzzy to anybody else? I'm clear and my hands are focused as far as I can see. Looks completely sharp to me. Pixelations, we're not dropping any frames at this end at all. The stream is going out, I think, perfectly normally from this end. Okay, what do we have here? Oh, I remember bidding for this now. Okay. These might be interesting, actually. Let's have a look at this. These actually might be interesting. You know about the crepe paper books that we've been showing in some of our previous videos, published by Hasegawa. He wasn't the only one in that business. He obviously became so popular, other companies started to copy what he was doing. And this is another company doing something similar, Hokuseido. I don't know the exact date when they started this. Let's get this other stuff out of the way just for a minute. It's just some things. This might be interesting. I've never had one of these before. I've heard about them, but I've never actually had one. Japanese Fairy Tale Tongue-Cut Sparrow by Hokuseido. And we have a real mix. This is woodblock print. This is not. It's that's flat offset printing perhaps, or maybe I can't feel any embossing. So it might be katsuji, or it might be offset printing. I don't know. The book itself in English with illustrations. And these are not woodblock prints. Whether or not that's carved or not, let's have a look. Let me get the scope out here. It's carved. Yes, the original was carved. But this is not printed from woodblock. This is a litho, I think. But it is carved. You can see places where the knife has clicked and chipped and popped. So the original of this would have been a carved woodblock, and then it's reproduced in this form, not from the actual blocks itself. Yeah, absolutely no doubt about it. This was carved. And are there any other woodblock prints inside? No. Oh, maybe. Let's have a look. What's this? What's this? No, this also is litho. This isn't a woodblock print. You can see the dots. This has been screened, half-tone screen. But they've copied the Hasegawa concept. I wonder when this was. There is a date. Here we are. Showa 13. Showa 13. I was born in Showa 26. That's 1951. So this is 13 years earlier than 51, which puts it at 1938, just before the war. And it's in English, so their potential market must have been the visitors to Japan at that time. It's got bite. Yeah, this will be katsuji. It'll be an actual plate. It'll be metal type. It's got a little touch. That's not offset. That's printed from metal type. Anyway, a nice little item. The back pages of wood. Is that wood block? It's really hard to tell with some of these, you know. Yes, that's wood block print. Hey, interesting. Good morning. Good morning. 5 minutes,ローズさんからご連絡。
なんか今日入ってなかった。
風。そう。2人です。
わかりました。
Okay, I have to get going, so I've got to get upstairs and talk to Ayumi-san about this. Okay. Okay, let's quickly get through these. There's that, there's this. This is just a book about some exhibition, Japanese illustrated books at the Victoria Albert Museum. This will be nice for reference. And these ones, this is the Studio Publications. This was a publishing company that operated in Britain through the teens and the 20s, I believe. It was an art magazine published in sort of kind of a limited edition to art collectors and whatever upper scale people. Let me get this open. And I have heard about this but never seen it. And are they? No, they're reproductions. Yes, interesting. They're color litho reproductions. So it's more of historical interest. When is this? This is, there's no date. 1920, somewhere on there. 1919. No, and they're color reproductions. But very, very interesting for the historical data that it has about what Westerners knew about color printing at that time. This will be a nice item for the library, but not an actual physical woodblock print. Okay, guys, I have got to wrap this up because I have got to get out of here. Ayumi-san's waiting upstairs for me before she can get her block printed. Okay, no, the last item. What have we here? A couple of our staff members are leaving this month. Evelyn and Tobias, they're from Germany. He's a doctor. He's been here in Japan studying Japanese traditional medicine. And his wife, Evelyn, has been working for us, helping with print parties. German couple. They've had real good fun here for the past, I don't know, it's not quite a year, 9 or 10 months or so. But they are now coming to the end of his contract, whatever. They're going back to Germany at the end of March. And as a thank you for us, this is actual size painting. She drew and or painted this at this actual size. I'm holding in my hand the painting she gave me as a thank you to all of us here at Mokuhanka. Let me zoom in as far as this camera will allow us to zoom in here. And we'll go through this. Aoyama-san, you're looking for a new piece of cherry wood. Don't do it, Aoyama-san. Don't know who this character is. And the rest of them are really, really recognizable. And what we're doing, this is actual size that she painted this thing. Teiko-san's in the background. This is Kida-san. She's actually even got the font correct. This is Audrey. People you've perhaps never met, some of our print party. Audrey's nuts about cats. Up on the second floor, we have, of course, Kame-chan, as he's known here to the girls, and Kawai-san, also very, very recognizable. And up on the third floor, we have the group of printers. Sugi-san, who you've met, Nei-chan, who doesn't come here very often in front of the camera, and Ishikawa-san, the three ladies who are printing most of our subscription prints this year. And up on the top, we have, of course, Shiba-san, Ninja Shiba. This is so cool. She has done such a beautiful job on this. I've asked her if we can share this, and she said, just wait a minute. She's given it to me, but she took it back for a few minutes to scan it, and she's going to put it up on her own Instagram. And I think her Insta is Namahanko, Namahanko. I think that's what it is. And once it's gone on her Instagram, Cameron on Monday will be putting it up on ours in nice high resolution, so we can see it. But anyway, they are just for touch. She's making postcards, that's why. She gave it to me and took it back to scan it at high res, and she is now going to have postcards made of this. So it will be here and available and around, or anyway, downloadable or whatever, sometime next week. But I had to show it to you right now. She's like, she gave it to me and said, I'm not so sure about this, and she's like all embarrassed, and when I go down, oh, give me a break, this is fantastic. Bare feet, whoever came up with an idea like that. Okay, I've got to get out of here. See you Monday morning. Thanks very much, guys. See you later. Thanks very much. And chocolate egg to the gentleman who talked to us about the compressor. Bye-bye.